hello once again, gentlemen. Jim the Tailor, and I'm here with the beautiful Dressmaker.
Oh, he's so sweet. Victoria Baylor, guys. Hey, good to see you this week.
Good to see you.
Well, we are continuing with our vein on the topic of the sewing entrepreneur. Of course, June for this month, which is going by super fast. We're celebrating the sewing entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And, let's just kind of tell them why we're celebrating the entrepreneur. I think we did before, but you can't really celebrate the entrepreneur enough. Why is that?
Well, we're celebrating the entrepreneur. First and foremost, we are.
Yes, we are.
Okay, we are. And we're living examples that if you set your mind to it will work. Not it can work, it will work. But you have to have from within your spirit, your soul, the desire to make it work. Now,
Absolutely.
we're created, we're given talents, and God said, I'm going to bless you with this talent. Now, if you don't use the talent, then you'll never become the entrepreneur.
Absolutely. And we want to celebrate you guys because unlike a lot of other people out there, and of course I worked in the secular sense, field for a long time, 15 plus years, but there's something to be said about when you step away from kind of that safety net of sometimes having a job, which there's really no safety nets in life. Because I know
really
people that have jobs that don't. So it's always kind of good to be thinking in the back of your mind, what is always a plan B? But we're celebrating the sewing entrepreneur because we understand the stress and sometimes just what's demanded of you to make that step into being your own boss and building something that's grand. So anyhow, we're continuing with last week's topic, but we're going to kind of think of it a little bit differently. We talked about starting a sewing business and how easy it was, 1, 2, 3 steps. And we're thankful that a lot of you guys had really good response to that. Today, we're going to just really quickly talk about the evolution of a business.
Right.
So I think a lot of people will start a business, have an initial idea, and don't realize how that can oftentimes change from where they're going. And change is one of those things that a lot of people feel uncomfortable about. But I have to admit, as an entrepreneur, change is something you have to get used to. Isn't it right, Mr. Jim?
You better get used to it.
Really, better get used to it.
I don't know you guys out there except through the correspondence that we get. The only ones that I know and I have seen the evolution and the change are the students that I've taught. Now let me say this. I have some very successful students that I have taught in the universe now. They came in saying, this is what I want to do, but change said this is better for you. Now notice how I said that.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people don't like the voice of change and they fight change.
Sure they do.
But when you fight change, you fight opportunities and potential blessings and potential growth.
Absolutely.
You want to really listen to the voice of change.
That's right.
And how does it show itself sometimes?
You start out in this direction. Oh, this is what I'm going to do. You're gung-ho. I want to learn how to sew because I want to do this. But I teach my students how to do multiple areas of things. I always tell them, make what you wear. Because you make what you wear, people see you. They say, I like that. Where did you get it from? Now, this is what they're going to say. Where did you get that from? I always tell my students to tell them this. Listen to me. This is what I do. Not, oh, I'll make it for you. Tell them this is what I do. Then they'll come up with the next question. Well, can you do that for me? Now, understand, what they might see might not be the direction that they're in.
That's right, because you shifted their thinking.
Yeah, you shifted it. See, now you could have everything on that you made, but they'll go to a specific item. That might not have been your main topic.
That's right.
Well, if enough people say, I like that, guess what you do? You shift to that particular item. Because this is what always happens. The biggest thing with starting or creating a business for yourself, whether it's online or whether it's brick and mortar. Now, like I told you, don't go into brick and mortar immediately. But if it's online, they will purchase whatever you made online. The next question they will always ask you, what else do you do?
Exactly. And a lot of times you don't know what would be in demand until you actually sometimes try a few different things. And you try a few different things, you'd be surprised. Most people set out to do something and are doing something slightly different than what their original thoughts were because there was a demand for that. And then they discovered they had a new skill set, a new passion. So what we're trying to teach you, or at least just encourage you to do as a sewing entrepreneur, is please be open to the idea of evolution. And this comes in the forms of picking a business name. If you are held up from starting your business because you don't have the right name, please, for goodness sake, excuse my face, but come on, get over it. You're probably going to change it later on down the line anyway. Just go at what you feel like is in your gut, shoot for it. If it doesn't work or you want to change it, change it later. It's just like when we talked about starting with a sole proprietorship. It's the easiest form of business to start with. It's just your own autonomous little business. You can upgrade later if the demand is needed, then do it later. But you're going to make several different changes. So don't get so hung up on all the details or you'll never move forward at all.
No. And like I said, it's important that you do what you like to do. But it's also important wisdom. Wisdom. W-I-S-D-O-M. When I simply decide on more. Wisdom.
That's a really good, I like that acronym.
Wisdom.
I love that. And that's a really good one. That one should get printed up. And someone, in plain terms, wisdom is just the right application of knowledge. So first of all, you should always be doing something to increase your knowledge and know-how. And in your sewing, that means increasing your skills, interacting with clients, getting feedback. That also means failing. And I did say that. Failing. That's something we all feel uncomfortable about, but you don't know if something will work until you do it. You might make something and people hate it. Well, I shouldn't do that. Let me try making it this way. And and I'm not even talking about a non-quality garment. It might be quality, but there's no demand for it. People don't want it. Well, then shift your focus to something else. But if you are not moving forward, you're not I think John Maxwell wrote an excellent book called Failing Forward. You can't move forward unless you're trying stuff, failing, figuring out stuff, succeeding. It's all part of the evolution process, isn't it?
It is, but I never use the word failing because I never failed at anything in life. I didn't. What happened is I didn't succeed in that area.
Well, if you want to phrase it that way, you're welcome to.
Yeah.
I totally embrace the notation of failing.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. So it just depends on how you want to look at it, which is so funny because it's true. And I love one of my favorite people I think about is Thomas Edison. And, there's a whole controversy on whether it was 10,000 versions of the light bulb or 1,000. Either way, homeboy made a lot of light bulbs and he failed in the process. He would make it, it wouldn't work. He would make it, it wouldn't work. But can you imagine where we'd be in this world if he didn't make that 1,000 or that 10,000? That's the same doggedness you got to have in your business, and that's the same push forward that you got to have. And you just have to embrace that you're evolving, and that evolving is going to take a lot of different forms.
Sure it is. But like I say, the key to it is getting in the game. And
do something
by any means necessary.
That's true.
And it's not always about, take that out your vocabulary. I just want to do thus and such, because you don't know. I'm telling you, don't know.
You were so right. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me let you finish. Almost got me hyped. Well, it's funny, when I worked in research science, that's one of the things when I got my degree in marine biology, that was one of the first things they told us, because most people would go in marine biology, you know what they want to study? They want to study the whales and the dolphins. They want to study the big things. Well, you can't always go in something and hit straight to the top. So what you do is you have to be clever. Take a back door.
Yeah, take the little goldfish.
That's right. Take a little goldfish, or circumvent and study a component of something related to that big thing. And then when you get your toe in there and your foot wedged in the door, then you can kind of get closer to the access of that thing. But to always have these, that's why people don't start, and that's why they don't succeed. They always think one target, one focus, and they just don't get started. You're right, they don't get in the game.
Don't get started. Getting in the game. And
that's right.
As sewers, as I've mentioned before, and I'm going to mention it once again, we're in a very, very opportune situation right now. People, especially women, they want something different. Notice how I said different, because you can rush out there and buy this designer this. They made 100,000 pieces of that. Or you can make one of something, make it again, but in a different color. Now that's still one of something. Change the coloration on it. Now that's still one of something, and it's the exact same pattern. Whereas a designer made 100,000 of them in the exact same color, see? So as an opportunity, Usually when people see you in a garment, as this lovely outfit that you have on today.
Thank you. I made this. Go to my blog, 10,000 Hours of Sewing.
That's it.
I love
But
the
now,
colors.
the pattern is significant, yes, but look at the print. Now you change that print 1,000 times, you can sell 1,000 of them.
That's true. And
Put
there's
a
only
different
3
print.
pieces to this piece, which is
See?
crazy.
So something as simple as that, changing the pattern, changing the color and the print,
Absolutely.
makes it look totally different. So as an individual walking and displaying your wares, somebody's going to say, I never saw that before. Now they might have seen the top, the pattern that you used 1,000 times over.
That's right.
But it was the exact same color. So that's why they notice it, because everybody's wearing the same color. And all of a sudden here you come with a print, a color that nobody else has. They've got to notice it.
And see, what you're selling is your individuality. That's the
all.
whole point of your
That's
business.
all.
Your perspective,
So as I
your
was
insight.
saying, the pattern of it is important, but it's not greatly important. It's not the number one thing. The number one thing is the selection of your coloration in it, a print, a pattern. You guys have seen me, and I can't tell you how many countless vests that I wear. It's the exact same pattern done over and over again, the exact same pattern. But I change it up with either the design in it, the coloration in it, the same thing you've seen in it. I know you guys have seen me in enough of these. It's the exact same pattern. But if you saw me, you say, oh, I like that vest. And then you see another one. Oh, I like that vest. Oh, I like that vest. If these were all just black, and I wore it continuously on there, the first thing you guys would say, when's he going to change that vest?
You know, it's funny you mentioned it. So 2 things came to mind. Okay, my brain just froze on the first one. But the second thing was, I thought about what you were saying. We were talking about individuality.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a gentleman. He's really big now. He's a designer to the stars. But he started off, he took a vest from Goodwill, and he was a painter, and painted the design on it and wore it to a function. Someone saw his vest and they liked it. And I'll bring up his name next time because he wrote a book and he's dressed Oprah Winfrey, Halle Berry, a lot of people. Some people saw his vest and they liked it. He's like, okay, well, he met a guy from Neiman Marcus at the party, and I guess he wanted his designs or whatever. So he went back to Goodwill, got 3 more used vests, and painted them, gave them to those guys. I think it was Neiman or either Saks. And then they're like, okay, we want to do a line of these. The man didn't know the first thing about sewing, didn't know anything, just went where the demand was.
Sure.
You know, after that, decided to put a line together. I'm sure he had some failure successes, didn't do things right, but he just proceeded with it. And then after that, other opportunities came. He made his vest line. Then they're like, well, you want to do women's wear? He's like, I don't know anything about women's wear. He jumped into it. He did it.
Right.
So the point and the moral of the story is, most of you are probably way more capable and, you know, skilled than this gentleman, but it's just stepping out there doing it and then just being open to the thoughts and the processes. And then to your point about the vest, what I was originally trying to say is, don't try to take on various different things at one time. No one says you need like a full suite selection of things to offer. Maybe you're good at just one thing, and like you said, doing a variation of that one thing. Once you get that in there and get that going in the cycle, add something else to it.
That's it.
But you know,
the world asks questions that you guys don't think of. And their question they always ask is, what else do you have?
there you go. You might have to dig deep for it, but you know, the thing is this though, you want to be at that position where you're giving your all and then someone inquires and wants more, and then you give that and you try. The whole point of what we're saying, and you know, we know you want to see us sew, and I know in the last few shows we haven't been sewing or doing anything major hands-on, but we want to really take this time to focus again on our sewing entrepreneurs. But we just want to encourage you to get out there and just keep your mind open to the fact that you are going to change a lot. And you need to be flexible and fluid in those changings, you know, to make yourself successful as a business person.
That's so true. I mean, that's really the bottom line is. So once again, Gentleman Jim the Tailor with his same pattern vest on, bidding you a farewell, and
Victoria Baylor, the Dressmaker, and what I forgot to say was I started out trying to sew a little bit of everything, and now I focus on special occasions. So my business evolved, and I like to teach, so I did a bit of shifting myself. We are encouraging you to shift in your business. Remember, God's giving you great gifts, talents, goals, desires. There is no other individual like you on the planet. You're the only person with your fingertips or your fingerprint. So take that individuality and go out there and bless the world.
Do it, do it, do it.
So we love you. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Bye now.